Hey guys, Max Few Trades here, at long last finally returning to a series that I said I would be doing constantly, but then kinda just trailed off into nowhere, and well, regardless of that fact, I'm finally back, and I'm here to talk about even more Smash Bros. Newcomers and what I personally think about all of them. Well, just so has it, we've actually acquired another 6 brand new characters for me to talk about, which is extremely convenient considering the last video was about 6 characters, so hey, let's just quit with the jibba jabba and we'll start going in chronological order and seeing what I can, what I think about everything. First and foremost, the very next character that we were introduced to after Greninja was the Mii Fighters. Yes, so many people seem to either be dreading or looking forward to this possibility of the Miis being playable characters, and I was one of the people who was looking forward to it. It just seemed like a pretty cool idea. I mean, if you really think about it, and from the sounds of it, Sakurai had pretty much the exact same idea. I mean, basically, this way, you can have just about any character you could ever want, assuming they're humanoid, but that's besides the point. It's just, I don't know, it's a neat little idea, and it seems like they're giving you tons of creative freedom in order to actually, when it comes to customizing these characters. Like, it comes in 3 different variants. There's the Brawler, the Gunner, and the Sword Fighter, and that right there are 3 completely different fighting styles, and they apparently, all of those have like 3 or 4 moves to choose from for every single one of their special moves. It's like a crazy amount of customization there. I don't know. I don't see why people always gotta look on the negative side of things, always gotta be negative Nellies. Yeah, they are a sign of casualness, but there's nothing wrong with casual, there's nothing wrong with competitive. It's all good in the neighborhood, everything's fine. And, I mean, think of it this way. Say they've announced a character you don't much care for is in the game, right? Well, just make a Mii of yourself, play as them, and, fight against the people you don't care about. And there you go, there's some sweet payback for, your negative feelings and the like. Personally, I can't say much. There's not really a whole lot to talk about, but I can't say too much good about these things. Well, I can say lots of good things. I'm bad at this. Point I'm trying to make is that the Mii Fighters are freakishly versatile. You can apparently put them in all sorts of different clothing options, which is awesome. I honestly thought we were just going to get the standard outfits, but apparently they're just throwing everything in there. And I'm cool with it, and I can already think of a great deal of Miis that I actually want to create, including my own personal original characters. And it tickles me in a good way to see you can just have about anybody, including yourself, in Smash Brothers. It's all good, it's fantastic. Nothing else to really say about it. It was just a good idea, and I'm glad to have seen it. Next up on the list is the wondrous goddess herself, Palutena. Oh my goodness gracious, I was certainly hoping that she would get into this game, and I'm really, really glad that she actually is. The thing about Palutena is, when she was first created, she wasn't really much of a character, like, even less so than I think Princess Peach was back in her original starting phases. She just kinda showed up at the end, didn't really say much, didn't really do much. But once the series was revitalized in Kid Icarus Uprising, which is a fantastic game that everyone should have played by now, and if not, you're a stupid, her character was completely revamped, and she's honestly extraordinarily awesome of a character. She's very kind and nice and beautiful and all that good stuff, but she's also, very snarky and very funny. She has a very good sense of humor. She's always trading off quips with Pit during the course of the game. They seem to have a genuine friendship, or at least a mentorship thing going on there. They really seem to understand each other, and they're just really neat characters. And, I mean, on top of all that, Palutena is, for all intents and purposes, a god. And that just all around screams, yep, there's a ton of potential here. Like, I mean, she seems to have a bunch of the moves that Pit could use in Kid Icarus Uprising. At least a bunch of the moves he himself doesn't have access to in Smash, which is pretty cool. There's tons of potential weapons over there to grab from, and apparently she can just have all sorts of awesome stuff, and it's just all really awesome. Let's see, what else is there to talk about with this lady? Well, she's another lady in the game, and I can't say anything better about that. I mean, we gotta have tons and tons of the females. It's nice that we're finally getting so much equal representation between the genders, as I've said prior. And from what I've seen of the character, at least from gameplay perspective and the like, is that she seems to be mostly a long-range type character. She does have some close combat options, but it seems like a lot of her real bread and butters are attacking people from afar, which makes sense. She's got that scepter thing, she can whack people with it, obviously, but she's got all these magic abilities. I mean, you know, if you're gonna go up against the Goddess of Light, you're gonna have to bring in some serious firepower, and I like what they've done. I like her neat little shield. I like her design. Everything about this is just fantastic. It's great to have her in the game. Can't say enough good. Palutena, she's awesome. Play as her. I'm gonna play as her. I'm gonna play as every character, but you should play as her, and you should play Kid Icarus Uprising, because apparently not a lot of people have. So, near to you, go play that game. Get excited, because this is great. And next on the list is the beloved and wondrous and world-renowned Pac-Man! Oh my goodness gracious, ever since it was learned that Namco was going to be helping making the next Smash Brothers, everybody thought, oh well, obviously Pac-Man's gotta be in. I mean, it just makes sense, and you know what? It does make a lot of sense. Pac-Man is one of the originals, he's one of the firsts, he's one of the most widely recognized creations in all of history. It just makes too much sense. I mean, have you seen that picture with Pac-Man, Sonic, Mega Man, and Mario all in the same photo? It's like, that's just unbelievable. It's mind-blowing. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's just, nobody, like 20 years ago, nobody would have ever thought something like that picture would ever be possible, ever. Hell, 8 years ago, people would have never thought it was possible, but here it is. You can play as all four of these guys in the same game, and you can beat each other up. It's awesome. And, of course, while Pac-Man is not known for his, you know, the more conventional side of fighting, they were able to give him a nifty little little set of moves, taking influence from all sorts of things. He can turn into his classic variation and chomp up people. That's really awesome. He, can apparently throw fruit and all sorts of other things. He can punch, he can kick, and he's Pac-Man, man. I don't know what you gotta say. I don't know. Apparently there are some people who are upset that he's here. I don't know what you're complaining about. I mean, seriously. Mario, Mega Man, Sonic, and Pac-Man. They are the world, they're the world's greatest. They're the top of the top, they're the cream of the crop. Almost everybody has at least seen or heard of them at one point in their lives. It's just kind of unavoidable, and they all just fit together so perfectly, you know? Now, from what I've seen of Pac-Man's moveset, he does seem to focus a lot on short-range attacks, although he does have long-range options. Like I said, he can throw fruit, he can apparently use those. He can use Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde as part of his smash attacks, which is just all around freaking amazing. I love that he can just pull out his worst enemies and smack people with them. It's great. He has a fire hydrant. Like, who would have ever thought of a fire hydrant? I don't know. It's just, I swear, the people making this game, they are a very, very creative lot. I just can't say enough. These guys are creative. They are awesome. It's fantastic to see Pac-Man. He is a superb choice for the Smash Bros. Roster, and I look forward to playing him immensely. Next up is a character who's been raising a few eyebrows and a few pitchforks. It's Lucina from Fire Emblem Awakening. Okay, firstly and foremost, let's just get this out of the way. Yes, for all intents and purposes, she's a clone of Marth. Do I personally care? Not in the least. I don't care even in the remotest slightest bit. If you've actually played Fire Emblem Awakening, and considering all of the reaction videos I've watched, apparently very, very few have, which is very irritating, because it's a phenomenal game that you should totally play, but that's besides the point. It seems like everybody's saying, oh, she's just a waste of space, but you gotta realize, in the game, she disguises herself as Marth. She poses as she has the same fighting style. Of course she's gonna be a clone. It just makes sense. I mean, you could have done some things differently, I suppose, but you really didn't have to. And I think the biggest problem people have with clones is there's some sort of conception that apparently, because a clone makes it into the game, that takes away a roster spot from someone else that they think should be in the game, but that's not how it works. Basically, what happens is they've come up with all the characters, they make them. It's like, well, we still got some time left. We can make some clones and throw them in there and bulk up the roster a little bit, give a few more characters people want. Yeah, maybe they're not 100% original, but they're in the game and you could play as them, and I'm more than happy with that. I love Lucina. She's awesome. She's a great character. She's strong and from the future, and she's got a sword, and she's gonna beat you up, and she's gonna freaking save the history of all the timelines. She's crazy. It's awesome. We got another lady in the cast. Another one. It's like, oh my goodness gracious, they're just coming out of the woodwork. It's like they came to it's like everyone in the Smash Brothers office accumulatively just sort of had this epiphany. And I was like, wow, we've got a lot of freaking female characters. Let's throw some of them at the place. And they're everywhere. Anyway, very clearly, Lucina will play exactly like Marth. She will have some differences. All clones are at least slightly different than the person they're emulating. Obviously, she's slightly shorter, so her box is, her, hitbox is kind of smaller. Her sword is a little different. Stuff like that, you know. But, I don't know, man. I like Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem is a fantastic series. I guess some people think it's getting overrepresented, but apparently those people never saw the sales figures for Fire Emblem Awakening because a lot of people freaking like it, and I don't know what to tell you guys. It doesn't really matter because they're here. She's here. She's in the game. I'm gonna play as her. It's gonna be fantastic. She ain't going nowhere, and y'all's just gotta have to deal with it. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. And next on the gamut, speaking of Fire Emblem, is Robin, both the male and female variant of the character. A lot of people in the reaction videos I watched had no clue who this person was. Well, if you still don't, let me fill you in. Robin is the main character of Fire Emblem Awakening. Robin is you. The character is extraordinarily customizable, including their gender, obviously, and you control them throughout the game. Everything sort of... I guess you could say it's a dual main charactership between Robin, Lucina, and Chrom, but you are Robin. That's who you play as. The fact that more people knew who Lucina was than Robin just struck me as really weird because you play as Robin. He and or she is the main character. It's just crazy, but either way, this actually completely threw me off. I was not expecting this. Unlike a lot of people, I didn't think Chrom was going to be in the game. I thought they were going to go with Lucina because Chrom would have been far too obvious of a choice, in my opinion. And Sakurai likes to mess with people's expectations and the like, and I thought, well, Lucina, she's a female. Chrom would play almost exactly like Marth anyway, so why not have Lucina and bulk up the female ratio to the game, and, bada bing, bada boom. It just works out fantastically, but Robin, that came out of friggin' nowhere, and I could not be happier. It's a Fire Emblem character who doesn't use a sword, so, well, okay, he and or she does use a sword, but it's not their main method of attack. They've got a grand old pile of tomes, the magical spells used in the Fire Emblem series. They can jump all over the place, they can cast all sorts of spells. Chrom flies out during his or her final smash, and they just go absolutely bonkers on whoever they're fighting. It's incredible, it's awesome. And Fire Emblem, now they've got 4 representatives in the series, and I am perfectly okay with that. I love Fire Emblem. A lot of people apparently let this series pass them by, or it's just not their thing. I suppose if turn-based strategy games just aren't your forte, then I can't force you to like things, but other people do. This is a point I really want to make out to people here, okay? Just because you don't know who a character is, or you don't care for the games they come from, that does not mean that they don't deserve to be in the game. Because, and I know this might be a shock to you, but other people exist, and they might have different opinions. You see, this is interesting, because you see, here's the thing, you might not like Fire Emblem, and you might not care about the characters being in Smash, but I very much love the series, and I'm amazed and thrilled to see these characters in. So what might not mean much to you means a lot to me, and vice versa. Maybe you were super duper excited, about Mega Man stuff, and maybe there are people that don't care about Mega Man. It's a very real possibility. You can't assume your opinion is the only one that matters. Either way, getting off track. Robin. Short range, long range, it looks like this character's pretty much got all the ground covered and can pretty much do anything you want. From what I hear, his or her sword and tomes can break over time. That's awesome. It's a nice little reference to the games. Not sure how much of a difference it's going to make in his or her gameplay, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all works out. This character looks like a ton of fun, and I ain't got nothing to complain about. And lastly, on the long list of people I've needed to talk about for oh so long is actually a character who was introduced just yesterday. It's Shulk from Xenoblade? Xenoblade? Yeah, okay, it's Xenoblade. Oh boy. I got to confuse Xenoblade, Xenogears. It's Xenoblade. It's a fan favorite cult hit RPG on the Wii system. There was this big thing about people really wanting to get it in America, but Nintendo wasn't sure that it would sell well enough, so they did a limited release, and behold, it got all the sales, and everyone loves it. It's a fantastic game. I personally have not played it yet, although I do plan to. Let that be there, okay? But here's the thing, just because I've never actually played the game doesn't mean I don't know who Shulk is and what he's capable of. You see, I'm the type of person that loves to know just about everything I care about. And I know that, well, I see all this news going on about Xenoblade going on, and apparently how it's a great game and everybody should play it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm curious, I'll look into it. And we got Shulk here. He is a swordsman, but a very different kind of swordsman. His sword is unlike any other sword you've ever seen before in your entire life. It's got all sorts of different modes that give him different attributes. It's a hugely technical and very, very interesting mechanic system that they've got going on here. And like I said, he is from an RPG. It's really cool. Let's see, what else can I say? Well, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm doing this all off the top of my head, just doing some little experimentation. His moves look really good. He is a swordsman, but he has, like, apparently freakishly good range, because his, oh boy, Monado? Is that what it's called? Oh boy, I deeply apologize if I got it wrong. But his sword, it can apparently it emits a beam, and it can, like, stretch out, and he can just deal damage from all over the dang place. He can see the future, which obviously means he can counter pretty much anything at any point. That's pretty freaking cool. And of course, he's got all of his different modes that apparently buff certain stats, but weaken things, weaken other ones. Like I can't remember all of them, but like the jump mode on his sword will allow him to jump really, really high. But I think it either makes his attacks weaker or he's slower. But it's a bunch of things like that. He's got like 5 different modes. They can all change up his stats in completely different ways, making him a very highly technical character, which all in all, in general, is just really cool. I mean, I've said this before, but they seem to be really, really trying hard to make, like, every single character in this game something special and unique, something you're not going to get from another character, and I cannot be happier to see that. It's really awesome. And I guess the last thing I can say about Shulk, other than the fact that I do plan on playing his game as soon as possible. Apparently, they're porting it to the 3DS. I just might pick that up version, because from what I can tell, it's hard to pick up a Wii version. It's a big old mess, but I do plan on playing it. Now, however, Shulk here has an alternative costume where he is in basically swim trunks. Now, here's the thing. From what I've looked up and from what I've heard, this is an actual thing in the game. Much like Zero Suit Samus's alternate outfit is much more revealing, but also directly influenced from a game. It's not mindless fan service, it actually has a point. However, and here's the thing, while I certainly doubt that this was intentional, I really, really like to think that basically people working on the game saw the reaction to Zero Suit Samus's new outfit. It's like, oh, it's over-sexualized. Why you gotta be so awful, Nintendo? Herpa-derpa-doo. And then they're like, okay, fine. Well, we got Shulk here. Put him in some swim trunks. Throw him out there. There. Now that's equal. That's equal representation. You got a mostly naked lady. You got a mostly naked guy. It's all good. It's all optional. You don't have to use the outfits. I mean, come on. These characters are awesome. They've got great stories, great personalities, great games. I think they've earned the right to wear whatever the flippin' hell they choose whenever they're in a fight. That's just my personal opinion, but hey, what are you gonna do? I felt the desire to make this video because I see so much negativity when it comes to the newcomers introduced into the Smash Brothers series. Like, it seems like it's always so, I don't know, I obviously do see people really happy to see characters, but on other times, like when people like Shulk for the most part, or Mega Man, that's like, you know, that's almost universally loved. That's awesome, fantastic, great, good job, that's what we wanted. But then they throw in, you know, neat ideas like the Wii Fit Trainer, or Pac-Man, or they put in Lucina, and everyone's all like, I don't know who that is, or I don't care who that is. Yippa-dooppa-dooppa-doo, and it's like, oh, come on, try to you know, widen your horizons here. Try to embolden yourself. Like, here's a little story. Here's a little brief story before we close things out, okay? Here's the thing. Way back in the day when I played Super Smash Brothers for the Nintendo 64, I was very young. Let's see, I was like, I don't know, I was like 7 or something. And when I played it, here's the thing. I had no idea who Link was. I didn't know who Samus was. I didn't know Captain Falcon. I didn't know Ness. I didn't know Fox. I didn't know Kirby. I didn't know half of the cast. But here's the thing. When I saw them, I didn't think, oh, well, I don't know or care who these people are, so I'm just going to play as Luigi all the time, or Pikachu, because I know who they are. No, that's not what I did. Here's the thing. I wanted to know who these people were because they seemed really, really cool. And at the time, I was still young and really stupid, but here's the thing. I was like, well, Mario's got his own games and stuff, and so does Pikachu with Pokemon and stuff, so clearly all of these characters have their own games, and I've just never heard of them. So, you know, like, I go to school, manual in hand, and I'm, like, asking people, who's this person? Have you ever played the game this person is from? And either they didn't, or they did, and I, myself, tried to play them. So that's how I ended up playing games like Ocarina of Time and Star Fox 64, so I could learn who these characters are. So, here's the thing. The trend continues to this day. Just because I see a character and I don't recognize them, that doesn't make me think, oh, I don't care about them, I'll never play them, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. No. What I see when I see a new character I don't know anything about, I see brand new potential, brand new information that I can cram into my head. I like to remember just about everything about all of these characters. I want to know who all of these people are. So I'm probably gonna go play some Wii Fit at some point just to get better accustomed to the Wii Fit trainer, just for the hell of it. I mean, I don't know. It's the sort of thing that's the sort of thing I like in life. I like learning about different video game characters and stuff. Even if I personally am not a huge fan of certain games, I like to know everything about them. That's just the type of person I am. And I feel like I can't be the only person out there who thinks that. So that's why I make these videos, to show that there is a guy out there, at least one person, who knows who these people are, and if they don't, wants to know who they are. That's the kind of guy I am. I want to play as every single character in this game. I will not omit a single person when I'm playing Smash Brothers. Everyone will be played equally, and it will be a fantastic time, and I think everybody should just take a step back and realize just how much stuff we're getting in this game and how amazing it really is that it's even happening. That's just my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but there you go. Now, if you guys would like me to talk about other things before the game finally releases, I know I said I'd talk about returning characters, stages, items. I don't know if that's something you're really interested in. If it is, please let me know down below, and I'll gladly make a video much quicker this time, I promise, about everything we know about that certain subject. If there's anything you personally want to know my opinion on, I will gladly go on for dozens of minutes talking about the most silly of things, because that's the kind of thing that brings me joy. I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Everybody in Smash Brothers looks freaking amazing. I'll see you all next time.